Book 18 of the Iliad, the shield of Achilles, numerically comes at a critical point in the structure of the Iliad. It is the third of the 4 sixes of the Iliad. That means that, obviously, being structured in 24 books, Book 18 comes at the third six in the 4 sixes making up the structure of the 24. Now, in the ancient mind, this is significant. In the ancient mind, as we know, numbers speak. So when we find a lengthy description of the shield of Achilles, and we find it in Book 18, we know that this is something we need to pay attention to. Now, the shield is enormously detailed, almost impossibly detailed, and the shield is round. And in the confines of this round shield, there are various contrapuntal images, images which contrast each other. This plays in with the theme of the entire book, and that theme of the entire book is the cycle of history, the cycle of time, which this poem illustrates, which it illustrates in its structure, in its images, in its characters, and certainly here in the shield. So the shield essentially is the embodiment of the Greek world. And he forged in the shield 2 noble cities filled with mortal men, with weddings and wedding feast in one, and under glowing torches they brought forth the brides from the women's chambers, marching through the streets, while choir on choir the wedding song rose high, and the young men came dancing, whirling round in rings, and among them flutes and harps kept up their stirring call. Women rushed to the doors, and each stood moved with wonder, and the people massed. But circling the other city camped a divided army gleaming in battle gear, and 2 plans split their ranks, to plunder the city or share the riches with its people. Hoards, the handsome citadel stored within its depths. But the people were not surrendering, not at all. They armed for a raid, hoping to break the siege. Loving wives and innocent children standing guard on the ramparts, flanked by elders bent with age, as men marched out to war. And he forged a fallow field, broad, rich plowland, tilled for the 3rd time, and across it crews of plowmen wheeled their teams, driving them up and back, and soon as they'd reached the end strip, moving into the turn, a man would run up quickly and hand them a cup of honeyed, mellow wine as the crews would turn back down along the furrows, pressing again to reach the end of the deep fallow field. And the earth churned black behind them, like earth churning solid gold as it was. That was the wonder of Hephaestus's work. And he forged a king's estate, where harvesters labored, reaping the ripe grain, swinging their whetted scythes. Some stalks fell in line with the reapers, row on row, and others the sheaf binders girded round with ropes. 3 binders standing over the sheaves, behind them boys gathering up the cut swaths, filling their arms, supplying grain to the binders, endless bundles. And there in the midst the king, scepter in hand, at the head of the reaping rows, stood tall in silence, rejoicing in his heart. And off to the side, beneath a spreading oak, the heralds were setting out the harvest feast. They were dressing a great ox they had slaughtered, while attendant women poured out barley, generous, glistening handfuls, strewn for the reapers' midday meal. And he forged a thriving vineyard, loaded with clusters, bunches of lustrous grapes and gold, ripening deep purple, and climbing vines shot up on silver vine poles. And round it he cut a ditch in dark blue enamel, and round the ditch he staked a fence in tin. And one lone footpath led toward the vineyard, and down it the pickers ran whenever they went to strip the grapes at vintage. Girls and boys, their hearts leaping in innocence, bearing away the sweet, ripe fruit in wicker baskets. And he forged on the shield a herd of longhorn cattle, working the bulls in beaten golden tin, lowing loud and rumbling out of the farmyard dung to pasture along a rippling stream, along the swaying reeds. And the golden drovers kept the herd in line, four in all, with 9 dogs at their heels, their paws flickering quickly. A savage roar, a crashing attack, and a pair of ramping lions had seized a bull from the cattle's front ranks. He bellowed out as they dragged him off in agony. Packs of dogs and the young herdsmen rushed to help, but the lions, ripping open the hide of the huge bull, were gulping down the guts and the black pooling blood, while the herdsmen yelled the fast pack on. No use. The hounds shrank from sinking teeth in the lions. They balked, hunching close, barking, cringing away. And the famous crippled smith forged a meadow deep in a shaded glen for shimmering flocks to graze, with shepherds' steadings, well-roofed huts, and sheepfolds. And the crippled smith brought all his art to bear on a dancing circle, broad as the circle Daedalus once laid out on Knossos' spacious fields. And he forged the ocean river's mighty power, girdling round the outmost rim of the welded, indestructible shield.